I'm Terry Goodwin, the studio director of Lab42 and the lead designer and game director of A Storied Life, Tabitha.
Hi, I am Cherish Goldstraw. I am the games writer at Lab42 and I am the writer and narrative designer on A Storied Life, Tabitha. A Storied Life, Tabitha is a wholesome narrative puzzle game where objects tell the story of a life left behind. We have worked together creating concepts and writing games together for, I think the first game we wrote together was probably about 15 years ago. This game in particular came from, we had both gone to a conference together and we're staying in the same hotel, and we were in the hotel bar and I was like, Terry, I've got this idea for a game, but it's more of an idea of a concept. I just sort of threw it at you and you sort of helped me refine it into something that's more like an actual game and not just like a vague idea that I wanted to tell. I had been through a couple of personal losses in a short space of time, and I just felt like this concept of that there are these people that we don't meet until they're older, and then by the time we get to the point where we're old enough to kind of have more of an interest in their lives, we sort of lose them, and this sort of like passing of two lives, as when you meet someone that's already, metamorphosized into, their elderly stages, and that we never get, how sad it is that we never get to meet them when they're younger, but also how lovely it is that we get to meet them at all. And it was like very much a story of items, and from the experience of doing this several times for people I was related to and knew quite well, but also for people I didn't know very well, like, an elderly lady from my mother's church that I only met her a handful of times, and how going through their things and helping pack things up helped me understand that person in a new way.
So then we had the concept and the themes and the feelings we wanted a player to feel, but then we had to think about how you actually make that as a playable game. We had this concept of writing this story, but there had to be some sort of structure to writing that story, how it related to the items that you were evaluating in playing the game, what you do with the items. So we came up with mechanics to build all of that into something that's playable, that's an experience, that's not just an experience, but it's a playable game without a fail state, but it's something that you play and engage with meaningfully and make meaningful choices.
From there, it kind of became this idea of, it's partially a puzzle of finding things, and that sort of intrigue of finding an item in a person's house and wondering why they've kept it for so long and wondering what it meant to them, and trying to sort of fill in those gaps yourself. And in terms of writing the memoir, that's where a lot of it becomes about the player writing a story, not me writing a story for the player. If you write a story that's funny, it should feel like it's because you found the right items, you found the right words, and you thought of something funny to put together. If you write something sad, it's because you wanted to tell a story that was sad or happy or bittersweet in some way. It's more about, one of the people we showed it to at Gamescom, she said it's more about the player than it is about Tabitha, and I think that was a really lovely way of seeing it.
Since announcing the game, we spent some time at Gamescom talking to press and showing the game to people, and it was a really interesting experience to see people that had no concept of what the game was until they came into the room, then sit down in front of it and then engage with it, like purely from going from zero. So it was very interesting to gauge people's reactions to their sometimes quiet reactions. And they'd say nothing, then they'd get to the end, and then we'd have so much to talk about. Sometimes people talked about it along the way, right?
Yeah, it was so interesting to see how people interacted with it differently. There were people that would do it very thoughtfully, or say to us, oh, this is going to make me emotional, this idea is going to make me cry. But other people, they would just be like having a good laugh with it. And my experience of remembering people is that often you share memories. I've never met an elderly person that doesn't have a hilarious story to tell me. So it felt like that, or they would make a completely absurd story with their memoir, and then we would all laugh about how fun that was. I would expect some people maybe would play the game differently by themselves than they do when they're surrounded by other people, which again is part of it. But it's strange, but sometimes we talk to people about this game and they share quite personal things with us in return.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah, really immediately. And that's what we want. We want people to have conversations, to appreciate the people in their lives. And it's nice that that gets through to people.
Yeah, and since Gamescom, seeing the previews that have come out, it's been very helpful for us to see the thought process that's gone on with these people that have been evaluating the game, and they go away and think about it. It's been received really well. The people seem to be resonating with the themes that we're going for, and it is making people feel a bit introspective, but they still enjoy the experience, right? Which is what we want to achieve: people to have a think, but to have a good time with it as well, because it's a celebration of life rather than sort of dwelling on loss or grief.
Yeah, it's not a game about mourning. It's a game about people.
Recently we've been working on a lot of polish, really, like audio and music in particular has come on a long way in the past few weeks. So we have quite a large list of sort of bespoke sound effects in the game. A lot of like Foley work has been done to capture moving furniture and the different sorts of sounds that items might make when you pick them up and put them in the box and things like that. And our brilliant composer has started to deliver some really fantastic pieces of music that we're getting into the game at the moment.
More recently, I've been working on the narrative and the memoir sequences just to kind of further refine it and make sure that we are delivering a satisfying gameplay experience, but also kind of treading that balance between gameplay and choice, and also without losing the emotional impact of the memoirs that the players can write. It's got to still feel like you've written something weighty if you want to write something weighty.
Recently we've also been polishing a lot of the visuals in the game. There's a lot of rooms in the game, so we've been working through and like really fleshing those out and making them look beautiful, but also we've been refining a lot of things like the UI and the UX, which we'll be doing continually through the rest of development to make it a pleasant experience.
We'll keep you updated on A Storied Life Tabitha as it progresses, including new features, mechanics, and any improvements we're making along the way. We'd love to hear what you think of the game so far, and if you like what you've seen, please consider heading to Steam and wishlisting our game. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.